Yes, yes, and yes, yes, yes.
You know what? I feel guilty um, about everything all the time. But that didn't happen because I had kids.
I feel guilty almost every minute of every day for the most insane and mundane things. I think all moms feel guilt. I think working moms, I know, definitely feel a lot of guilt because, I don't know, that switch just gets flipped. Like as soon as you have a kid, it's like, I don't know, all that Catholic school that I had growing up must have just like kicked in all of a sudden. But I feel guilty all the time, but then I reconcile it with reminding myself that I truly am doing the best that I can, and this is the best that I could do for today, and that I am doing the best thing, I know I'm doing the best thing I can for my kids by working and providing.
I suffer from classic mommy guilt, whether it's I leave work at 4:30 so I could get home, or I have to drop my son off at daycare in the morning. Even though I know he's happy, he's well cared for, he loves his sitter, it's still really hard for me to know that somebody else is spending the best hours of the day with him.
I'd say the level of guilt changes and has become easier over time. For example, when I would feel guilty that I was leaving my daughter at school, I reminded myself that she's, learning along, she has friends to play with, and that helped me get over it quicker. And then I would also remind myself that I'll pick her up later that day and we'll have a lot of fun, and I'll put all my focus on her. So that helped me with the guilt.
So like I was saying before, I work 4 days a week, and so my Fridays are Charlie Fridays, and there's just some Fridays I don't want to do it. Like, I just don't want to do it. I'd rather be at work, and I think sometimes I feel really, really guilty for feeling that way because, it's like, it's 1 day a week, and I'm supposed to spend it with my son, and that was the whole point of it. Can I not even do that? This kind of notion that, a mother is supposed to be almost obsessed with her child and wanting to spend all of her free time with them, and I don't think enough women admit that they don't really want to. See, I'm embarrassed to admit it, I guess, because I feel guilty. But spending any more than a few hours alone with him, and I'm done. And it's tough. I mean, you do it, but after a few hours, you're like, just give me 5 minutes to myself. Let me recharge and start over. So
I feel guilty for not having enough energy sometimes to really make a good dinner, like a fancy one, or something that doesn't come from a box. Sometimes I feel guilty for not wanting to be a stay-at-home mom. I feel guilty for yelling and losing my temper, not having more patience. I feel guilty that I'm letting somebody down.
I feel like I need to do everything and be everything for everybody. And I don't think that that's something that's ever going to go away, but that guilt is what you have to harness that guilt, so you know that when you're away from them, you're maximizing the time you have away. So when I'm away from him, I'm at work and I'm working on my professional self, or if I'm at the gym, I'm working on my personal self. But it's just really maximizing the time you have away so you can maximize the time you have with him to balance the guilt, because the guilt is just going to be there, at least for me.
I feel guilty about, in some cases, leaving work early because my kid is sick, but only because I don't want to give the impression that my job is not important. So
The most guilt I feel, honestly, is when I'm at work, I'm in the middle of a project, and I get a phone call from daycare, and she's sick, and I need to pick her up. And I feel so torn at that moment. I feel guilty because I don't want to leave work, but obviously I have to.
Did men ever feel guilty in the same situations that you just described, if they have to leave work, or?
I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't, because I've discussed it with my husband.
Oh.
And he just sees it very straightforward. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. You have to leave. You have to go when you need to come back. And so I try to bring that into my approach as well.
Yeah.
I feel guilty. This is really stupid. I feel guilty for feeling guilty.
I think that, first of all, anybody that has that kind of time on their hands to strike that debate is not somebody I associate with, because I just don't have time to sit around and judge other people.
For some people, that's true. I don't think it's true for me. I know that during my experience for maternity leave, after a couple weeks, I was going stir crazy. I'm used to having an inbox and an outbox at work and being able to have a tangible representation of my productivity for the day.
So I'm not cut out for that. I've always known that I wanted to be a career mom. If you think about it, I invested just as much time in college and learning and education in my career at this point as any man my age, as my husband. And to me, having a career makes me happy, it makes me whole.
Well, I feel pretty strongly about this question, and I feel pretty strongly about how incorrect I think that statement is. And the reason I say that is because every situation is different. It's such a blanket statement. You know, some children, and it depends on the situation. Some children's health may require a parent to stay home. Some parents may not have the financial means to put their child in daycare so that they can continue working. Although they may want to stay home, some parents can't stay home because they have to work. It depends on the situation, and I think it's just unfair for people to judge and to decide that that's what's right no matter what.
I think that it's totally a very personal decision. I personally just know that as much as I miss my kids and how hard it is to only spend a few hours a day with them during the week, I am a better mom because of daycare. They do things with the kids that I would never do. Like
Those 4 hours a day, the 2 in the morning and the 2 in the evening that I spend with my kids, are a better 4 hours than a 12-hour day that I would give them.
I don't think that means you love your kid any less. I just think different people need different things.
it just works for us, and I know that in the end, the sacrifice that I'm making by working is going to let me be able to do things like send them to college.
I believe that the best kind of mom is a happy mom, and if you are going to be happy to stay at home and you're able to do that, then you definitely should. And if that's not for you, then you should go to work and you should own it, and you should own that time that you have with your family.